Hello everyone, this is AndresRestart, and this time we are talking about Metroid Prime 4 Beyond, and the next time we are going to see this game. For the first time, we got a proper trailer of this game during the most recent June 2024 Nintendo Direct. It was the closer. I felt the trailer was magnificent, and Nintendo told us that they are planning to release this game in 2025. So regardless of how much longer we have to wait, it's not going to be that much longer. But I do think there are still many people that are on the fence about this game, that have many questions about this game, and I still think there's a very large audience that is unaware that they're going to be interested in Metroid Prime 4, because I really think they're just scratching the surface here. So I am very eager to learn more about this game, not just for myself, but to see how others respond to it as well. But when that time is going to come, I think is unclear. There's a variety of possibilities here, and I don't just think it's necessarily going to be in the next Nintendo Direct. So when are we going to see this game? Well, that's what we're speaking more on today. But before going forward, let me ask that if you do enjoy my content, to please subscribe and hit that notification bell. So I think a lot of people are just going to assume, well, the next Nintendo Direct is a great opportunity for Nintendo to talk about one of their major games that's coming out next year. And that may be the case. However, I have my doubts, for two different reasons. One, I'm not sure what kind of Direct we're going to be getting next. It may not be a proper general Direct. Recently we've gotten some rumors that we may be getting a Direct soon, and it's not going to be in September, but perhaps later this month. We'll see if that's actually true. We're already halfway through August, so I'm not sure, but I'm putting it out there that there are rumors suggesting that we're going to get Directs or presentations from Nintendo that are happening sooner than expected. And why might this be? A lot of people think that it may have something to do with Switch 2. I'm inclined to agree, even though there's been some talk lately that Switch 2 won't be out by the end of the fiscal year, but perhaps just a little bit later. Regardless, Nintendo may be going a little bit out of pattern here, and not doing your typical general Direct for September, but rather something like maybe a partner showcase or a Nintendo Direct Mini. Or maybe just some Twitter announcements and perhaps a game-specific Direct. There's a variety of possibilities. They don't necessarily need a big general. Even earlier this year, where we would typically see a big general Direct for February, they didn't do that. They just gave us a partner showcase, and then on Mario Day gave us some release date confirmations for both Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Luigi's Mansion 2 HD. They might do something similar this time around as well. Give us a partner showcase and just give us a few updates on some things we need to know before we need more information early next year. So there may not even be a big Direct where they can show off Prime 4 again. But on to my second reason why I'm doubtful they'll show off Prime 4 in the next Direct, because we have seen examples where Nintendo has shown off a big game for the first time and then gone quiet on it for a little bit before they're closer to release. Like Animal Crossing New Horizons. It was initially shown off and announced in the September 2018 Nintendo Direct. They skipped the early year February 2019 Direct and then started talking more about it again in the summer. Another example is Tears of the Kingdom. And I'm not referring to the initial teaser trailer we got back in 2019, but the next one that we got in summer of 2021 where we actually got to see some gameplay. They went quiet on the game for some time. We didn't actually get our next proper trailer of the game until September of 2022. And what's funny about that is that initially the game was supposed to come out in 2022. So it's conceivable that Prime 4 could be in a similar scenario here, where they're aiming for this 2025 release, and we're gonna go a while, almost a year if not more, before hearing about the game again. I don't think that's going to be the case this time around, but I'm simply mentioning that there's certainly precedent for major games to be shown off with gameplay, and then Nintendo skips a Direct or two before we see them talked about again. And I guess technically another reason why I think we may have to wait a little bit longer before you see more about Prime 4 is because I am of the belief that Prime 4 is definitely going to be tied into some type of cross-gen release having to do with Nintendo Switch 2. It's definitely 100% a Switch 1 game. The trailer we've seen is for a Switch 1 game. But I also think there's going to be an upgraded Switch 2 version. Some might argue that we'll see this upgraded version after the initial release. I don't think so. I think they're going to come out around, if not exactly at the same time. And I do think that can impact the next time we'll see Prime 4. They may not want to show off Prime 4 again until they're ready to start showing off Switch 2 games, which may include an improved version of Prime 4 running on the system. And if we were to get a Nintendo Direct in August or September, well, there's a very good chance Nintendo will not have spoken on Switch 2 yet, so they may not show off Prime 4 again. So I'm personally pretty skeptical that we're going to see Prime 4 in the next Direct. Even if it is just a Switch 1 game, I still think we may have to wait a bit longer. But if it is a Switch 2 game, I see it as one of the games that they will have in the teaser trailer. That first teaser trailer for Switch 2. Very much how they showed off Breath of the Wild in the teaser trailer for Switch 1. I think Prime 4 will be included there. Now, this is not me saying that I think Prime 4 is going to be treated exactly like Breath of the Wild, but I do think there are a lot of similarities. Two big games that have been developed throughout an entire life cycle of a console. They're definitely on the high end of ambition when it comes to Nintendo games. And when they're coming out is during this sort of transitional phase between one console and the next. Now, I don't expect Prime 4 to be a launch title for Switch 2, but I do think it's going to be part of the launch window. I think Nintendo will say something that's more guaranteed to be a bigger hitter as the day one launch title, but I also expect Prime 4 to be a big deal, just so we're clear here. I think it comes out within the first few months of Switch 2, which I think still falls into the 2025 window. And so when Nintendo decides to reveal the Switch 2, this may be when we see Prime 4 again. But if it is in this form of a teaser trailer, it may not be that much gameplay. It might be 5 to 15 seconds. Which wouldn't be that much, but it might be enough to get us talking, give us different ideas, and perhaps allow us to start coming up with more theories and doing some graphics analysis and comparisons of the Switch 2 footage versus the Switch 1 footage. So it will certainly lead to some extra conversations regarding Prime 4. But the thing about this hypothetical teaser trailer that might have Prime 4, while I do think it could still happen in this calendar year, with the talk of Switch 2 not coming out in this fiscal year, that reveal trailer may come even later. It may not come until sometime early next year. So conceivably, we may have to wait until next year to see Prime 4. I think it's worth mentioning that as we are entering a new generation of Nintendo may want to increase their presence at the Game Awards as they were back during the beginning of the Switch era, and start having some big reveals and teasers during that time, and that could include our next look at Prime 4, which I do think would fit that audience very well, and I do think Nintendo is trying to push Prime 4 here. They would not have had it as the closer of the June Direct, in a Direct that had announcements for Mario Party Jamboree, Echoes of Wisdom, and Mario and Luigi Brothership, the three big holiday releases of this year. So I do think Nintendo wants to push this game, and the Game Awards might be a fantastic avenue to do this. Now, the one caveat goes back to what I was talking about earlier, is if Nintendo hasn't shown off Switch 2 yet, then they may not want to show off Prime 4 until that point, so they might skip the Game Awards, at least when it comes to Metroid Prime 4. But thinking on it more so, it would kind of feel like a missed opportunity to just skip the Game Awards. And what else would Nintendo show if not Prime 4 at the Game Awards? I mean, maybe Legend ZA? There are other possibilities, but if they don't give us that proper announcement for Switch 2, what else might they do? Well, we may have a Direct very soon, and there could be something announced there that could be coming out in the early parts of the year that they would show off during this Direct. Maybe a Fire Emblem remake, maybe a Kirby game. There are possibilities. It wouldn't be the first time we saw something like Fire Emblem showing off at the Game Awards. But if somehow we get to the point where Nintendo hasn't announced Switch 2 yet, or if they do, they somehow aren't including Prime 4 in this sort of marketing lead up, and they also skip the Game Awards, then I think our next best bet for when we see Prime 4 is the early year general Nintendo Direct. That's what I would predict if there isn't a Switch 2 teaser by that point or something at the Game Awards. And because there is a history of getting Metroid Prime 4 being in a Direct predictions wrong for almost everyone, I will mention that if it isn't in the February Direct, if we have something like that, because it may not happen due to Switch 2, then the summer presentation, the summer June Direct, that's when I think for sure we'll get our next update on Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. That would be the absolute latest in my mind. Even if the game's not coming out until next year, we'll at least have gotten an update on the game not making it out in time for 2025 by that point. And so if it does end up being like a Tears of the Kingdom situation, then maybe we have to wait until a September Direct. but I really feel like that's pretty darn unlikely. Especially when you account for the history of when there is a console coming out and there is like a summer direct or summer event, they tend to show off a lot of big things that are coming down the road, which funnily enough was when they initially announced Prime 4, that summer E3 2017 when the console came out. But what do you think? Let me know in the comments below. This is AndresRestart, thank you so much for listening and watching, and I'll see you all really soon. Take care. Bye.